You got challenges that you're going to run across.
We all have our skills, right? We all know what we're really good at. It may have taken me a minute. I mean, oddly enough, when I started the company, I didn't think that I should have been the front person. I didn't think that I was the salesperson or that BD person. I knew I could write a proposal well, but I didn't think that I was that front person. So I hired someone to do that and to be that. It wasn't till we got into a bad place and I had to fire her that I realized well, I won't even say I realized, I was kind of forced to jump out and be that person. And we've just done really well since then, right? So one of it is knowing what you're really, really good at. And I won't even say knowing it, is accepting it, because sometimes, again, we deny who we are. But then when you accept what you're really, really good at, then there's a whole list of things that only you can do and a whole list of things that only you should do, and everything else you need to hire somebody else for, right? So I know I'm not an operations. I'm probably the worst operations person, as it turns out, because I thought I was the best in the beginning. It's like, no, I'm going to manage the operation and you go out there and you be in the front. But no, when people come to me, because I'm the entrepreneur, right? Someone comes to me whining, I'm like, you're fired. Go away. I don't need to, right? So you got to have people, and smart doesn't mean book smart. Smart doesn't mean, smart means a whole lot of things. It means you could be process smarter. You could be emotionally intelligent smarter, right? That I'm not going to deal with someone whining. Whereas, okay, you are really, really good at working through those issues to make sure the employees are happy, to make sure the work gets done, and moving forward. You're smarter than me in that. Go forth. So it's all different levels,
So if there's a young lady watching this interview now, or either young man who wants to do what you're doing, wants to start a management consulting firm that deals with government contracts right now, are your only government contracts?
100%.
Okay. What do you suggest they do? Where do they start?
First, they have to know why they're starting and what the value is that they're bringing. You can't, and I'll tell this to anyone who wants to start a business, whether it's GovCon or anything else. If you're just starting a business because you want to make a whole lot of money, that's not the right reason to start a business, because you have to have something that you're passionate about, something that you care about, something that when it gets hard, and it will get hard, you want to stay in there and tough it out, right? You've got to be able to tough it out when it gets hard and make those decisions, and you have to sacrifice. So if you're just like, I'm going to do this because I want to make $50 million, don't do it, because that's just not where you're going to be happy. Right. But if you really have something that you think is a value, if it's really something that's burning in your heart and your soul, that you feel very confident in, my management ability is X, so I know that I can always hire the right people, or I love process. That's how I started. I love process. That's why I thought that I was an operations person, because I love process flows and mapping things out and seeing things move efficiently. And so that's part why our company still does that, and why I wanted to start the company, because it was something that I really love to do. And starting it at the beginning, it wasn't a thought of me having, 100 employees or whatever. It was more of the thought of me just doing that thing that I love to do. And as I love to do that thing, it grew and developed into what it is today.
So a person needs to love what they're doing. Well, you said you love the management part of it, or something. You said, what did you say you love?
I love processes. I love, at the beginning, I love creating process. And that's still a lot of what I do today, making, even within the organization, that's what we deliver to clients. And now within the organization, looking at how can we be more efficient? What processes do we need to change? How should we be more efficient within BMA?
Okay, bring it down a little bit lower to the real basics. Would a person go get an LLC and start that way and say, okay, what do they do that way? Or should they work for a corporation first in doing that? And
that's a hard question though, Tony, because I can't tell you how to, start getting an LLC. I mean, if if someone is an entrepreneur in their soul and I have to tell them to go get an LLC, then they're not an entrepreneur, right? So, yeah. So, and if you are, then you already know the skill that you have that's a value added skill. You already know the thing that you're offering the competitive environment that other people are saying, you're really good at that. You're really good at that, you know, and you feel that as well. You're like, yeah, I am good at that. So I need to take this to the next level. I need to move out on my own and do the thing that I know.
Okay. All right. So I got an LLC now. Can I go start bidding for government contracts just because I have a business? And how do I get into that door?
That's another 2-hour long conversation. Like GovCon it's not the easiest business. There's a lot to learn. You have to understand the federal acquisition regulation, right? You keep telling me to break it down to make it
words.
Right. And I'm like, government contracting is not that. GovCon is one of the most difficult businesses that anybody.
All right. I got you. So now what I'm gonna do then, let's pivot and talk about something that goes across the board with everybody.
Okay.
And that's entrepreneurship and leadership, because I know you can speak on that a lot. We had a discussion one day, and it was rather lengthy discussion about
Lordy.
Was a person born an entrepreneur, or you can, because I was telling you that, you know, I do training calls, I do teaching calls, I do, you know, books and all this. And you said, what did you say? You said something like, you can't make those people be entrepreneurs. You can't teach them, train them to be entrepreneurs. They have to be. What did you say? How did you say that?
It's inherent and you have to want it. It's funny because I was teaching a class. I was a guest speaker for a class. Let me rephrase that. I was a guest speaker for a class at a PhD class at GW. And the professor asked a very similar question. Asked the question of if someone came up to you and said, I think I should start a business. Should I start a business? And I said, they're asking me already the wrong question. So my answer would be no.
Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the all button and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to have a lot of good interviews on this podcast.